Hi everyone, welcome to the Jack and Joe show. We've been holding off in terms of speaking about Mitrovic, but he has broken the record. Jack, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm actually pretty hungover today. Had maybe one too many before the game, but enjoyed last night despite some ticketing issues I had, which I'm not going to get into because it's going to make me too angry. But all I could say is at the club, I was very close to going home last night before even entering into the ground, or I'd already entered into the ground, and then I'm not going to get into it. But yes, good win for Fulham and another 3 points on charge to the Premier League, Joe.
Yeah, I feel as if the scoreline in this one does not reflect the game remotely. It's one of the most one-sided games I think we've had all season. We knew that Peterborough were going to sit back, as they did in the away game, and they did cause us problems on the break, and obviously scored at the end a very good goal that we will come on to. I thought it was a good performance from Fulham. I thought we could have been a bit more controlled in the first half. But I think we've got to get straight into talking about the main moment of the night, and that is the fact that Mitrovic finally broke the record, and instantly floods of replies saying he can't do it in the Premier League, though, can he? Can I just flag that no one has ever done this in the Championship before? He's had an exceptional season. His all-round play has improved. If we go up, and I think we will, I think that he's got a big point to prove, and I think that he'll prove it. And we mustn't forget what he can do on the international stage. That goal against Portugal in the last minute for Serbia. I think the argument is completely null and void and so boring. I advise you to go and watch Benjamin Bloom's video that he did on it a couple of weeks ago, which is fantastic. But Jack, penalty.
Yes.
Firstly, was it a penalty?
Yes.
I think yes.
Definitely a
Score was
penalty.
a penalty. And oh my goodness, not only did he break the record, Mitrovic sent the keeper the wrong way. I mean, that just never happens in a penalty.
The most unheard of penalty, the most convincing Mitrovic penalty I think I've ever seen in a Fulham shirt. Normally he always goes the way of the keeper, but still manages to squirm it in, albeit sometimes off the post. But yeah, definitely a penalty. And the sport, was it footy accumulators and all those pages that were posting the news, and I didn't even read the comments because one, it's very predictable, it's very boring. We've done it too many times. I've even commented on Fulham's tweet saying can't do it in the Prem just to try and get some nibbles, and it successfully worked. So very proud of him. Very much a case of when as opposed to if after the goal against Hull, and to get two last night and probably should have got a hat-trick as well. The guy is unbelievable, and in this system, if we do go up, I'm very confident he's going to get goals in the Premier League if we were to get there. Bender, one of the best performances I've ever seen from a goalkeeper, opposition goalkeeper, especially all season. For a long time, we could have scored. Harrison Reed could have scored a couple. Actually, I can't remember who else.
Yeah, Wilson,
Carvalho.
Mitrovic had at least 2 chances for a hat-trick.
But what about Seri's? Seri's passing was unbelievable. What's he doing?
I thought, we both said we flagged. We obviously didn't do a video directly before this game. We just couldn't do due to scheduling issues. But we spoke off camera and we were saying, what changes would we make? And I think we both said, well, after that Huddersfield game, we almost needed a bit of a refresh in the middle of the park. And just so happened that Kenny was ill. Hope he gets better soon. But it was the perfect opportunity to try Seri and Reed again. I don't think Chalobah was bad at all. I don't think he had a bad game against Huddersfield. But I think it was clear that we maybe needed someone, especially against Peterborough when they're going to sit deep, to break through rather than to protect our own box. I think Seri did that wonderfully. I thought he was great. There's 2 passes in the second half in particular, one to Wilson, as you said, one to Mitrovic. Both should have ended in goals realistically. I mean, we can't complain too much because we've won the game. But he was back on the top of his game. I can't see him losing that starting spot on Saturday, that's for sure. So really great to see him back. I thought Nico Williams had another good game.
Brilliant game.
Yeah, I mean, Tete still on the bench, and as it stands, he's not getting back into that team purely because Williams is doing so well. And also it was great to see Cabano chip in with another assist after being, maybe not dropped, but rested at the weekend. interesting one. But anyway, good cross for the second goal. And Jack, I mean, as you said, Bender, what a performance! It was unbelievable.
It was even the second goal, he got a hand to it, and it still managed to squirm in. But the second goal was unbelievable with Carvalho's turn, little like I don't know what he did. He sort of just sent the defender the wrong way. Good ball to Cabano, and as soon as Cabano got the ball, I was looking in the box, going, "Who's in the box?" And Mitro, he's on the edge of the box. He puts his hand up. He's like, "I'm here," and he perfectly picks him out. And there's a good volley into the corner. And it's 2-0. But yeah, Bendo, I felt a bit sorry for him because obviously, like, you know, as sorry as I can feel for an opposition keeper, I thought he was actually really good. Couple of tips over the bar from Harrison Reed and Carvalho, Mitro, couple of chances he had inside the box. Would have been really good, nice to get a hat trick for Mitrovic in front of the Hamilton fan. But at the end of the day, the fact it was 2-1 and we had to see out added time was a bit frustrating. But I literally said to whoever I was pre-drinking with, Cam Ramsey, Tom, Josh, I was just like, as long as we win, don't care. I'll take 1-0, first minute goal. I just want to keep winning because obviously we lost on Saturday. We haven't even talked about that because we haven't done a video. We lost on Saturday to a good Huddersfield team who won again last night. So I'm sort of I'm just like, just keep winning games and then we'll just get away from the pack. And I feel as though we're in a position now where there will be teams in the playoffs who will drop points inevitably. And if we can win on Saturday and Stoke go to Bournemouth, I mean, we'll get into the Championship now, I suppose, but a lot of chances for Fulham just to really get ahead of everyone and start being like, when are we going to do it? But it was disappointing to lose on Saturday, Joe, and a good goal from Marriott as well to make it 2-1.
It was. I mean, I think Tosin's got to do a hell of a lot better. I'm a fan of his, but that goal is completely on him. Marco Silva called it out on his post-match press conference that it's a goal that should never have been allowed to even become a chance. You know, Wilson misses the one-on-one, one ball over the top, and it's the strength and positioning that caught him out on this occasion. And wonderful finish. Don't get me wrong, wonderful finish, but it shouldn't have got to him. In the end, it didn't matter. On another day, I think we win this game 5 or 6-1 in this case. You know, wonderful performance from their goalkeeper. I wouldn't even say the finishing was poor. I just thought it was excellent goalkeeping. And that's what makes me not worried about the fact that we only won 2-1 in the slightest. I mean, how good is that we can almost not complain, but think, oh my goodness, we only won 2-1. It's just fantastic. But yes, let's talk about the Championship, Jack, because in addition to Jack Marriott's, there were a lot of late goals last night.
So many.
And a lot of them were involved in games that were teams in the promotion picture. So we had Sheffield United winning in added on time. That's 10 men, Sheffield United against Blackburn. We had 10-man QPR scoring the last minute against Blackpool. And we also had Huddersfield score 2. One of them was on the 88th minute and one was in 96th minute to beat Cardiff. So big change to the playoff places over the last few days. You know, Huddersfield have really cemented themselves in there now. They've overtaken Blackburn. And the same way we talk about ourselves in first place with Bournemouth having games in hand is the same for Huddersfield, who have played, I think, the most games in the division. Points on the board over games in hand every day of the week. Those games in hand are not a given. So what do you make of last night's results, Jack?
Well, at first, I look at one result in particular and I go, oh my God, Sheffield United are beating Blackburn. That's brilliant news. And then you look at the table and you go, actually, that's not great news because actually a draw would have probably suited us better. And are we in a position now to start looking at all these results and going, is this realistic going to affect us? And I'm thinking probably still, yes. You know, as long as if we can start winning more games and get ahead and suddenly that gap from what is now 11 stays at 11, maybe goes to 13 and 14 and 15, suddenly like we're away from the pack. But there's still a factor. There's still plenty of games to go. There's still plenty of football to be played. And then QPR winning was annoying, knowing that they had 10 men as well. I was like, oh, that's a bit frustrating against a Blackpool team. And the winning goal as well was quite frustrating at the near post finish. And what was the other one? Yeah, Huddersfield. You know, there's two sides to this because you go, oh, Huddersfield on a great run. Fair enough. Grinded out a result against a resilient Cardiff team. And I was thinking, brilliant. Cardiff have 96-minute loss. And we're going to them on Saturday. They're going to be right down in the dumps, and we're going to be up because obviously Mitro's got the headlines tonight or last night. So I don't know. I suppose did the results really alter the night in terms of how it went for Fulham? Not really, but it's still a factor, and the fact that Bournemouth have got all those games in hand as well is still making me quite paranoid.
Yeah, it's one of those where the table doesn't look as glossy as it should do, considering the gap we've got because of other teams' games in hand. But I just want that gap to get bigger and bigger. And what we have to remember with Bournemouth is for at least one of those games, possibly two actually, they're not going to be played till late April. So unless there's other postponements, those games in hand are going to be there right until the business end of the season. I think until after we play them, in fact.
Does that play in our favour then?
So I think so, because from our point of view, unless we really slip up here now and lose, well, let's face it, lose 4 in a row and they win 4 in a row, they're not overtaking us, regardless of, games in hand that would yet to be played. So for me, it means that we can stick a little bit more ahead of them. And I think psychologically that plays into it. And those games that they've got against some of the teams that are the chasing pack from the playoffs become even more tough because even though they've got games in hand, the gap's closer. So
there's extra incentive.
I think it plays in our favour. Obviously, you've got to play everyone twice. Does it matter when you play them? I think a bit, to be honest. I do think a bit. I think that you'd be stupid to say that, for example, in the Premier League, if you had Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea away as your first 3 games, of course that plays into it because then you've almost definitely had a horrendous start to the season. Confidence is at the bottom and you've got to work your way from there, whereas they could have been spread around. So, my opinion is that it does matter and this does play into our favour. We've got a run of games still that up until that mid-March, late March period, they're winnable. Every single game is very, very winnable. And I include Blackburn at home at that because they're in poor form. Without Ben Brereton Diaz, I think we can get a good result against them. So this is the period now. Keep winning. Doesn't matter how we win, as you say. And hopefully we'll get to where we want to be as early as possible, which would be fantastic. I guess we should come on to the Cardiff game on Saturday. Cardiff, as you said, lost in the 96th minute yesterday. Before then, a mixed bag of results. I remember they beat Coventry, they beat Peterborough, drew with Blackpool. Awful run earlier in the season that meant that they had the change in manager, Mick McCarthy, out just after we played them. What are you expecting from this game, Jack? Because in all honesty, until the last couple of games where their results, other than last night, have improved slightly, I was thinking this was an absolute banker, in all honesty. I thought they looked so poor, but the last few results, they have improved.
Yeah, they've got better as a team, and I think they're now in a situation where they're not going to go down. They're obviously not going to go up. They're not on the beach because they're still playing for pride, because you have that sort of, I've always thought of Cardiff as a very proud sort of football club with their fans won't settle for anything less than 100% every game, which of course is what every club expects, but especially with Cardiff City. So I'm expecting a tough game. Jordan Hugill coming in as their main striker now. He's had a couple of goals. They've got some really decent players. I always get confused between 2 players. One plays for Huddersfield and one plays for Cardiff, and they both have a very similar name. Is it Colwill? Ruben Colwill? Is he it?
So there's Levi Colwill at Huddersfield.
Yes.
I think you're thinking of the right Colwill now in Ruben.
Ruben, he's a good player. And then of course you've got like the Steve Morrisons. No, Steve Morrisons. I can't remember his name. I can't actually remember his.
I know you're thinking of the defender,
the shithouse
right?
one.
Yeah.
And they've got Aidan Flint. So, it's a big physical team, and I think that Cardiff at home against the. I think if we play our game, I think we win the game, but it's not going to be easy whatsoever. They make it difficult. And actually, that 4-0 win against Peterborough, albeit it was Peterborough, probably the worst team in the league. Very impressive performance. They did well against the Coventry team, who have obviously done bits this season as well. But then again, last night, they let the lead slip, and that will really dent their confidence going into a game against the best team in the league. So I'm not really sure. I wouldn't be surprised if I walk out the Cardiff City Stadium on Saturday after a 1-1 draw, feeling very frustrated and very like, oh, we should have won. And that's probably going to be my score prediction if we're going to be honest.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I want to win, obviously. I think we can win, but it's just one of those games where you just see us conceding something sloppy. And this is like my 4th or 5th time to Cardiff City Stadium. And it's just been like, there's been a couple of decent results, but there's also been some very frustrating evenings there. The Harry Arter red card springs to mind under Parker. But yeah, it's a tough test. But, you know, Cardiff aren't really going anywhere this season. I don't see any like massive incentive for them to absolutely. Well, I think they'll give us a good game, but I think we will obviously have the more motivation to win it than them, being where we are in the table. Joe, what about you?
Yeah, I guess we should come on to our teams. Obviously, it's very fresh in our minds. The match was only last night, but it's a tight turnaround. I'm going to go straight in and just say I only think I'd change one thing, and that thing would be Harry Wilson coming back in for Bobby D called over Reed. Right. I thought he had a good game. I thought he was good. I thought he played well against Huddersfield as well and a great finish. But I maintain that our best front three is Cabano, Wilson and Mitrovic. And I feel like last night when Wilson came on, he did well. On another day, he gets that goal when he was through. And I also think against one of his former clubs, I would hope that he's got a bit of not a point to prove because it wasn't their choice. They didn't re-sign him, but a little bit more incentive. So that's the only change I would make. And I do think we're going to win this one. And I think we're going to win it by 3-1.
Okay.
3-1.
I'll take that all day. Well, of course, you've got the Wilson-Williams link-up at the Cardiff City Stadium that, of course, they play for Wales. So it's familiar territory for them. So that's probably why I'd play. I would agree. I think John Mikel Seri and Harrison Reed's great to have them back playing together, and I would probably keep that the same. And yeah, I don't like, as much as I love Bobby D over Reed, I don't like not seeing either Wilson or Cabano on the starting team sheet. It makes me feel quite uneasy, especially after the Huddersfield game where we obviously lost. I think we were lacking. Sorry, it's absolutely just started hailing down.
Yeah, same.
It's caught my eye there. We're both in the SW19 vicinity. But yeah, excited about this one, I suppose. Am I? Yeah, I suppose it'll be all right. Only a 2-hour train to Cardiff and have a few cans. And I don't really know who's going. I know people are staying overnight and stuff, but I think I'm probably going to be on the train on my lonesome in terms of my actual group of friends. I think no one's braving the trip. However, we are braving the trip to Motspur Park tomorrow night to go and watch Fulham under-23s against Aston Villa. A win claims the title. So we've got to. I think I've got to contact someone at the club to get our name on the list or something. It was a drunken idea, but it's one that I'm pretty sure that I want to do. I'm not too keen on Southampton v Norwich.
Yeah, I mean Southampton 2 Norwich 0 sounds lovely, but Pajaziti lifting that trophy, fantastic. Under 23 is doing great again this year, and it's wonderful to see. And I hope that if we do go up, I'd love to see a few of them get loaned to Championship or League One next season and get some proper professional first team action. I think that'd be great because such a promising group. Stansfield was in the Rocket last night, I think you said.
He was.
So ridiculous. I mean, that's just absolutely incredible value. Another good win for Fulham. Another good historic week after the Mitrovic. I don't even know what you call it. Record-breaking brace. Let's call it. Yeah. And another day he gets a hat-trick. But Jack, I think we'll leave it there and on to next week where hopefully a win against Cardiff. And you never know, Bournemouth and the others slipping up. I know Bournemouth have got Stoke at home, which I do think is a tricky game. And then following that, the next week is a 3-game week, which will be very exciting. So, yeah.
It's a 3-game week. Who have we got?
The week after that, sorry. So Cardiff and then we've got Blackburn, Swansea, Barnsley in that week.
That's it.
So that's going to be a mega one. Yeah, really important.
Yeah. My Barnsley Prom tickets arrived this morning. Very excited for those. If we had longer, we could talk about Stoke basically being in a position where they can't go up now or basically don't seem like they're going up. And obviously West Brom losing again. We could talk about that. But,
oh, my goodness, yeah.
There was just one thing I wanted to say to you quickly, and it was my absolute, and pardon the pun, dismay at seeing that Bournemouth have a game in between the penultimate and last day of the season, that Forest game. Unbelievable.
As much as I've said that it like plays into our hands, it is one of those where it's like, oh, could they not have found anywhere else?
Well, they couldn't, because basically, from what I understand, is that Forest have got that FA Cup game against
Huddersfield,
which is actually played on like a Monday night because of scheduling issues, and I don't think they found a midweek EFL week where obviously because they'll already be playing another fixture. So here's mental.
Where it gets more interesting is that we play Forest that same weekend. So if Forest go through, then our game will be rearranged. If Huddersfield go through, then Bournemouth will have another one rearranged, and we will play that Saturday and have another game played on top of them.
Why is the Bournemouth one? Why would that be a rearranged?
So Fulham, Forest, and Huddersfield, Bournemouth are on the same weekend, and that game will be moved. And that game will be moved depending on the winner of Forest v Huddersfield in the cup.
Amazing. So basically, one of us is going to have another.
One of us is going to have a rearranged game. Yeah.
What a season this has been. We're on 67 points. 3 points would get us into the 70 mark. And then we've got a few more games before the final international break. Joe, thanks so much for being here. And come on, Fulham against Cardiff then.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Jack. Thanks everyone for watching. And yeah, fingers crossed for another win.
I've just pressed the wrong button there. Okay. See you guys. Have a good one. If you see you in Cardiff, come and say hello. And we'll be back on Monday or Tuesday, whenever, to talk about the Cardiff game. Come on, Fulham. Joe, thanks very much.
Thanks a lot, Jack.
Take care, everyone.